True 242.
Hashtag smoother locating at Gay Magazine. Hashtag VerseTV 242D.
So why am I on Grinder? It's just easier, honestly. Like what I've found on Grinder is that you see a lot of men who, of course, they're just looking for a hookup, but not all of them are looking for a hookup, but most of them are looking for a hookup. But it's just easier. Like you see a lot of men, like a lot of men who are interested in trans women are on Grinder and they'll reach out to you on Grinder and it's a little more seamless than like on Tinder. I don't like to tell men on the first date that I'm trans if I meet them in the wild or on not a queer dating app because it just puts so much pressure and it puts a lot for me to reveal who I am as a person to them. And I know the girls are y'all gonna jump me for this, but like sometimes a girl just wants to go and have like a coffee, a beer, and Tinder's also a hookup app, but I also just like to, meet people and talk to them and get a feel of who they are as a person before I'm just like, hey, did you know I started hormones at 15 years old and that's why I look like a woman? And when I was 20 years old, I got a vagina. And then the vagina, it may be a little different, but I've had no complaints thus far. So why am I on Grinder?
All right, hashtag Verse TV family. Yes. So, my comments on that are as follows. I understand completely as far as her explaining dating on 57. Yeah. As far as her explaining dating on not Jacked, Grinder instead, because it's easier. So I completely understand that. And that reminded me of this beautiful F2M pre-op dude who was on Jacked, who was absolutely, I was quite attracted. He was my type. Yes, he was. And one thing that hmm, on I did try to hit him up before I saw all of this, I think, or whatever. But either way, he didn't respond to me, so he was like, no. But one thing that I found interesting, and I think it's a beautiful thing for those who like that everybody can like someone somewhere in the middle. Just like I was talking about, well, on a personal video, how I have man boobs, and there are men that like other men to have man boobs. People are mixes of things. We're not just A or B. And I think that's cool. Anyway, as far as the guy on Jacked, he, on his profile, I guess I missed it or something, but he was like, yes, and I have a beautiful, thick vagina that always stays more. And I was like, is that what men? I was like, is that what men like to hear? Hetero men like to hear? He was like, I have a beautiful, thick, chunky vagina. And I was like, anyway, let me stop. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Anyway, but I remember talking to a friend of mine who asked, you know, in learning about our Q plus spectrum, he was like, why would a woman transition from being a woman to being a man to then still turn around and date men? And I think that's part of the beauty of the whole thing because any and everyone, it's a different dynamic. So whatever suits you best, you can do what suits you best. You can find the connection that suits you best. Wow. Oh, yeah. And as for her explaining that she has a vagina that's a little bit different, looks a little different, that actually reminded me of a friend of mine who, homosexual, same gender loving friend of mine, who spoke about penises. And he was like, yeah, at the end of the day, you can't really help what the penis looks like of the person you fall in love with. You can't. And her talking about her vagina looking a little different from other vaginas made me acknowledge that, you know what? I guess it is the same for those who date people with vaginas. It's again, we're not just cut from A or B. Everybody is somewhere along the spectrum, and different style of penises or different styles of vaginas, whatever. And